that shot is done like this. You can't do it, kid. But don't worry, my boy. You're not the only one. No one else can do it. I'm the best.
Hey everyone, welcome back to more Flesh and Bad, and today we're going to be doing some Blitz. So the skirmish season is coming up, and we've got some brand new meta changes, which are kind of interesting. So one notable loss for Zen in Blitz is Traverse, which is just a very, very powerful card, allowing us to get Chi and basically just have Chi for the entire game. Definitely feels bad to be running Mask Momentum, which I think is the only mask right now that is legal in Blitz. I think Mask of the Pouncing Lynx is also banned. So definitely a pretty huge downgrade there. We're also losing Zephyr Needles. So I originally had a deck list that was called Blitz is a fake format because the Zephyr Needle Zen build was like basically just the best thing you could possibly be doing. Like I think it didn't block super well, so like it definitely had like a couple little counters, but like the damage you were outputting was basically insane, right? So you were basically just able to keep Zephyr Needles around for the entire game, flick them, recur them. It was kind of disgusting, like to the point where I think like Blitz was not actually like a real like competitively viable for it, but now it is, which is really cool. And we've also got the Crown of Seeds unbanning, which means that there are a lot more Terras around. And I think for the Blitz meta in general, from what I've seen on Talishar, it's a little bit of a mix of like Terra. Data Doll is also kind of like a bigger deck, and there are like a couple of other just like random decks that people like to play as well. But I think like Data Doll and Terra, I think are like the most popular ones, that, at least from what I've seen. So definitely looking to try to kind of beat them with this list. And let's kind of talk about this list. So I've been trying to practice a little bit for the upcoming skirmish season, and this is kind of what I've landed on. So this is a list that I think blocks pretty well. We got a lot of 3 blocks. We've got a lot of Tiger generation in the form of our Tiger forming cants, which we're running 4 of. So pretty solid there. Just means that you're not bricking. It also means you kind of have some like late game potential with like Tiger form, basically representing like a 1 card 6, which is really strong. And this whole deck is basically geared to try to beat like fatigue decks and also try to block out against Data Doll, because Data Doll is also, I think, on 2 of Null Time Zone at this point to try to beat Zen. So we have to basically kind of consider those 2 decks. I think Blaze is also a real deck. I just haven't seen a lot of Blazes on Talishar. So I definitely need to get a little bit of practice there, but we do have like 2 AB in the sideboard for that. And then this whole deck is basically geared to try to beat Terra, try to beat Data Doll, and then also try to beat Blaze. So we just have a very consistent like mainboard package, and then we also just have some Brax in the sideboard, some blues, and then AB2 just to kind of shore up a little bit of Arcade Barrier. Yeah, but that's pretty much the deck. We also are running 2 Cosmics. Cosmic is actually a lot easier to land in Blitz just because you have a higher density of Transcend cards. So getting off a Cosmic for 20 is actually like super feasible in Blitz, which is why we're just basically main decking this card. Like this card is actually kind of insane in Zen. Yeah, but I think that's probably going to summarize kind of like the list. We're also running, I guess, some Key Unleashed here just for extra kind of combo density and also just to kind of prevent against fatigue. And yeah, this is kind of the list we're going to rock today, so let's see if we can get some games. Playing against Yoji, I think I want to go first in Yoji just because they tend to have a lot of... they tend to be like CYB Yoji from what I've seen. Let's cut the blue flicks and then maybe cut... What else do we want to cut? We can honestly maybe even just go 2 reacts just to be a little bit safe against fatigue. I think that seems kind of reasonable. Let's try like this. See how it goes. All right, they're on a Nothos. Seems reasonable. I think here we're just going to send Incant plus Kakara Tiger Swipe. Basically just want to kind of pressure their hand, set up an arsenal. And from what I understand, this Yoji deck is not actually trying to be super aggressive, although I guess it can kind of depend. All right, looks like our opponent is playing Snag, which interestingly enough doesn't, I think, affect Tiger Forming Cant. Notably because it specifies, I think, attack reaction cards, basically. Snag is a very weird, limited, like, it's a pretty narrow card. I guess it will turn off the Tiger Swipe for what it's worth. Okay, they did actually manage to get 2 value off the Snag there. It's kind of impressive for what it's worth. All right, we get some chip out of their way. They don't get to develop out of CYB, which I think is good, and we get an Arsenal. Definitely looking to try to find some Transcend at some point, but not in a super big rush. It seems like we got another Stag in the deck. That's also kind of interesting. I feel like I'm maybe supposed to just try to block this. Like, I feel like we want to maybe just unbrick this hand with Pouncing Paws. So I think I'm going to do this. And then we can basically just send 2, 1, 5, 5. Just want to place out some good efficient hands against them if they're more of a fatigue deck. All right, let's go ahead and start with Kakara. Definitely need to find Transcend at some point, but we're not in a super big rush. And again, we are like fairly likely to just draw into Transcend naturally at like in later hands. Like it's a lot better to kind of Transcend in Blitz because you're running less main deck cards, so you can run all 9 Transcend cards and basically have a higher density of Transcend, which is cool. All right, they'll give us some armor there. I'm pretty happy about that. Mask of Momentum is also like kind of just trash. It's mostly just like a 2 block that sometimes randomly gets you some value, but it's pretty bad in this deck. But for what it's worth, there's also just not really a great alternative. Like all the other alternatives to Mask basically just do the same thing as Mask, but they don't like block 2. I guess there's like generic. We could run like Crown. Crown actually might be kind of interesting. Because like Mask really doesn't do a ton in this deck. At least from like my experience. This hand's nuts though if we were able to keep it. This is a double chase the tail hand in Blitz, so maybe the Mask Momentum is actually going to be kind of good here. Alright, COB is not surprising. Sigil, also not surprising. What is Yoji's even hero ability? It's like nothing, right? The next time target hero will be dealt damage this turn, and that damage is dealt to Yoji. Oh, that's like a... Its hero ability is basically 22 health, right? Yeah, that's basically all it is. It's like a UPF thing, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious if Crown would be good. That might be something I need to try out. So I said actually we could do a double chase, but I don't think we can actually do it here. Yeah, we're not gonna have the resource to do double chase, but maybe just one chase is fine. So let's go ahead and just do Wind Chakra plus Sacred Art. Get some good damage here. And then we're probably just gonna get Swipe at the end of this. But this feels pretty good. Potentially also going to be able to threaten Mask here at some point. All right, go ahead and play out the Tiger. Coming in for 5. Pretty solid. Let's go. So we don't have Swipe anymore, but we'll just get Pouncing Key. Also fine, I think. Yeah, actually, not having the Swipe is kind of bad. A little bit unfortunate that we used both of those, but we still have the Pouncing Key as backup. Similar-ish damage, although it doesn't have the on-hit here, which would be kind of nasty. And then we have a Passover. I guess the question is, do we want to pre-flip this Passover and then maybe just send Kakara? I think we kind of do. Let's go ahead and just banish the CYB, and then I think sending 2 extra damage against a fatigue deck is maybe better than IPing the Chi. So pretty good here. We get to set up some Chi in our deck. Things are good. All right, they come in with the Nothos. I think we'll just use up our sync because basically I don't think they're going to be pressuring us at all this game. And then what do I want to sync here? I feel like syncing the Unleash for later maybe makes sense if we can try to draw towards Transcend. It's not super efficient to use it here. I'll take 100 wins though. That's also not terrible. All right, let's go ahead and lead off on the Incant. And then we'll send in Kakara for 2, 2, 4, 1. It's kind of whatever, but again, I don't think they're going to be presenting a ton of pressure against us. I think their win con here is basically just sending a Nothos at us. All right, they got a Fate, pretty good. I am definitely lucky to see that Passover pretty early because we're going to be getting probably about 5 value out of that Passover, which is pretty nice. All right, and this is what I was kind of talking about with the Cosmic. Although, unfortunately, we're not really able... Oh, wait, we can kind of Cosmic here. The problem with this Cosmic is that... no, we can Cosmic because we can pump on Kakara, right? So yeah, we can actually Cosmic here. That's kind of insane. This is why I say you should just like probably main deck this card in Blitz now. Just because it's pretty consistent to get it off. And we're going to be sending basically what's supposed to be a 23 damage turn. Because notably Shuko does not buff Cosmic. Or no, sorry, it's still just 23 damage because we're not getting a Shuko buff anyways. But yeah, this is why I think that fatigue decks are not super real in Blitz, at least from what I've seen, is that Cosmic is just super strong. And it's just super easy to run too. Like any Mystic hero can run Cosmic, and it's like pretty easy to assemble for the most part. Like just a kind of dumb late game win condition. I mean, this isn't even late game. This is turn 5, right? Like, just it's super free to get Cosmic if you're running 9 Transcend cards. Right, they have the hard counter for Cosmic. Seems pretty good. And it looks like that was lethal. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, so fatigue decks are pretty bad into Zen, although they did have some pummel, so maybe they were trying to do kind of like active fatigue. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, definitely looks like kind of what I expect out of a Yoji deck, which is just like generic Guardian stuff plus CYB. Pretty common from what I've seen. All right, let's see if we can try to find another matchup. All right, so we've got a Blaze. I do not necessarily know how to play them Blaze, but we're gonna try our best to learn. I assume Flick Flock's not good, so maybe we just bring in Warmongers. I think it's pretty marginal either way, just because they're both probably just blue pitches. But we'll run AB2 and see how that feels. Wait, isn't Waiting Moon banned? Tegan. In Commoner. Oh.
Not in Blitz.
Not in Blitz. Okay. Waiting Moon is apparently not banned in Blitz. It's apparently only banned in Commoner, as I've been informed. I did not know that, for what it's worth, but... Alright, whenever you opt to put energy counters ablaze, okay, that's kind of a terrifying start. So, already off to 4 energy counters? Yikes. That's nasty. At least you can try to filter this with like EV2, but this hand's like pretty bad. Alright, they're gonna play out the Inferno here. Pretty good start from them. Alright, let's go ahead and AB2. Let's pitch our Pouncing and our Key Unleash here. Same for later. I think I'm probably just gonna full cycle this hand as well, so let's pay another 2 here. Because that hand was like pretty bad. Rather just draw into some Transcend or some power here. Alright, I would not necessarily consider this to be a super powerhouse of a hand, but it's probably passable. We can do like 2, 1, 4, and on levels draw a card. Yeah, that's pretty good. Not terrible. I think I just want to try to find my Transcend as fast as possible. They are off to probably a pretty good start, though. So I don't know exactly what this is going to be like. They also have another Op 2 here. Yeah, I definitely need Tegan to kind of show me how Blaze works, because I'm not very familiar with her. I probably played against her like once or twice, but I forget exactly like what the combo she's trying to do. It's probably just like Aether Flare or something. That's at least my guess. All right, finish on the levels. We'll do draw a card. Windchalker's not bad. I'm glad that they let us kind of filter that first hand, because if we were keeping that hand, this game probably would not be as close as it It might be now. But it seems like it's going to be like a 2 to 3 turn game from what I can at least tell from the other side. So you're getting an additional 2 energy counters. Definitely a bit scary. I'm almost curious if you can run like Mind Warp or something with Blaze. Like Mind Warp on my turn or whatever. Yellow Emeritus. That does make sense. I don't think we're going to be paying into that though. Ooh, they get an additional amp as well. Definitely pretty solid coming in for 8. And that was amp 2. Where'd the amp 2 come from? Or they're amping, how do they get 3? Maybe that's my confusion. They got 1 here, 1 from the Cindering. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, let's go ahead and just AB0 though. Alright, 10 all. We at least have a little bit of tempo here, so if we draw Transcend, we're probably in good shape. The Waning Moon for 3 is also scary. I think we just have to take it though. We just have to take it and hope we can kill next turn, I think. Yeah, definitely kind of terrifying start from them. Alright, we're gonna go for it. So let's start. How do we want to start this off? Let's start with, I guess, Wind Chakra Preserve, because we're probably going to end up playing the Wind Chakra anyways. Let's try to put the levels back and then see how they want to respond. I don't know if they can necessarily kill me off of this. I don't exactly know what their range is, but I'm assuming it's probably close to like Verdant's range, where it's like 9-ish. In which case we can probably deal with this, I think. Maybe. Again, maybe the range is a lot higher than what I'm giving it credit for. So we don't want to pitch this yet. Let's go ahead and get Chase. And then maybe we're trying to just leave some floating in case they try to go for the kill. I think we want to try to like maybe end on levels here is what I think I'm saying. Like we'll try to make them commit to doing something here. We also had the opportunity to make Zen State there, but I think we just need to try to push damage on this hand. Like I think if we played a little bit too scared, then we're probably not going to be in great shape. All right, so now they are forced to try to commit here. So either they're going to start blocking or they're going to try to send something at me is my guess. I guess this deck can also probably run like Snapback or something, so maybe their range is like 10 or something-ish if they have the right hand. It's definitely possible. But we do have a lot of blues in our hand to AB, so even if it's like, what's the best thing they can do? They can like Flare for 3, we pay 2, they amp 1, they Waning Moon for 3, which is, we block 2, which take 2 in total. It seems like they're maybe going to try to go for it here off the Cindering. All right, see what they do. All right, taking off 4 for Quickening. I always forget that the energy counters don't necessarily correlate to the mana. It correlates to the damage you're able to deal off of it. It's kind of interesting. All right, we're going to start it being this. Let's go ahead and start with the Cosmic here. Pass. All right, we're definitely also, I think, A-being into this so we don't die to Snapback. So we'll pitch our levels here. And then we still have another 2 floating for whatever the last thing they do. I think like the best case scenario here is like Snapback or something, if I had to imagine, because they can pull like Spellfire Cloak and then Snap. I think we just probably get this, right? I don't know if we got lucky here with the hand we drew, but I feel like we kind of navigated this pretty well. Them going first is definitely scary. All right, go ahead and pay 2. They're going to pop their Spellfire. Stormies. All right, and then send an Aether Arc, which I don't think does it. So we'll go ahead and just pay 1 into that. And yeah, it should be good there. So the AB2 actually seemed like it was pretty good against Blaze. I don't know what the necessarily correct configuration is. The sideboard slots in Blitz are like pretty limited. So I think running AB2 is like pretty solid into Blaze from what I understand. It's probably a little bit better than AB1. Well, I think that's probably going to wrap it up for today. So thank y'all for watching. I'm kind of actually sold on the Crown now, like unironically. I think the Crown is actually maybe even better than Mask of Momentum. I still want to kind of like play test maybe back and forth between the two, but like Mask of Momentum has felt pretty low impact, especially just with how many like awkward draws there are. Like if we draw like a Tiger Swipe or a Pouncing Key and we don't have like that Tiger or like there's like plenty of like pretty awkward draws in this deck, I feel like. So I don't know if Mask of Momentum is actually good. I feel like Crown to like save ourselves from like a CNC pummel or like something like that might actually be a little bit more impactful than Mask, but I'll play test this a little bit on my own and see if that's actually true. But yeah, definitely the Traverse Ban and Needle Ban, I think, are probably good for the health of the format, but Zen definitely has to kind of adjust to it. And I don't think it's honestly even that bad for Zen. Like, it's still pretty easy to line up like Cosmic and stuff in the late game against fatigue decks. Like, you still are just doing very powerful things. You just don't have like the consistency of like a free Transcend turn, which is probably for the best, honestly. Yeah, but this list feels pretty solid, pretty clean. I'll continue to kind of work on it, maybe tweak some like ratios here and there, but it feels like it's just a pretty solid, consistent deck. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. And a special thank you to all the folks who decided it would be a good idea to give us $2 on Patreon. We really appreciate the support, but it's obviously never required.